Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Albers, and welcome to This Week in Anderson on Dingo and the Coach on USBN Sports. And as always, I'm joined with my co-host, Steve Ellis. And Steve,
Yep.
we got a real good guest here tonight, a guy that we know from our high school days and is one heck of a golfer. And it's going to be fun to catch up with Jeff Moore and talk about his golfing career at Anderson High School and then also what he did after high school.
Well, we're going to talk about some lessons. Try to get some golf lessons from him because we're
going to need it. We're definitely going to need it.
No, this is perfect, Danny, because as we said before we got on the air here, is that we haven't seen him for many years, and it's just great to get caught up, and that's why we do these things.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, as joining us as our guest here, Jeff Moore. Jeff, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So we always start this off by asking everybody, to talk about, what it was like growing up in Anderson, what side of Anderson Township you grew up. So kind of fill in everybody and let them know.
So I grew up at Fox Trail Farms over near the Coldstream area, where I played a lot of golf. Grew up there, lived there for 20 some years, I guess. And you guys were both in Summit, I guess. Is that right?
Yep. I was in there.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, so it's growing up in Anderson was our own little kind of home away from home. It was kind of a quiet little suburb, of a big city. I loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. I miss it every day, actually.
Yeah.
Did you guys? You and your family? You belong to Coldstream?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah.
They just redid that whole course, I think.
They've redone everything, and I've been out on it, but I haven't played it since they've done it.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. That's my next thing. I'm as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be coming home this weekend to see the family, but the weather's not going to be good enough to play some golf. But so I want to get out there and check it out. It's supposed to be awesome.
Was that like an overdue improvement, or did they make it harder?
They had so many trees on the golf course. It was tough for the wind and the breeze to get through there, so there was a lot of dead areas. So they've really opened it up a little bit to let some of the sun get to it and really kind of green it up, if you will.
Okay. All right. So did you go to Air?
I went to Air, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And we always tend to ask these questions. So you were around that age. Where was middle school years for you?
Middle school was the old Anderson Middle School, right? When it was 6th, 7th, and 8th, where the old Kroger was. I think it's a medical facility now.
Right.
But you guys remember that, I'm sure, don't you?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because you were. Yeah. Hold on. Is that so? When we were there, Steve. Were we the last?
We were the 8th grade, the last one. And Jeff, you must have been in 6th grade then.
I was in 6th grade. You guys were the last one because that was it. After that, I was at the high school level. After that.
Okay. All right.
If I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, that is right. That is correct.
So obviously golf was a big part of your life. Was there any other sports that you played growing up?
Yeah, I played. I tried everything and was pretty decent at a lot of them, but golf was the one that I loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. I couldn't get out there enough of it. I just loved everything about it, and I was good at it. So, what's that?
When did you start playing golf?
Probably when I was 5. I probably messed with it a little before then.
Yeah.
But my dad was always on the golf course, so you'd wanted to emulate your father. So
right.
I was trying to get out as much as I could with him. And Coldstream was one of the top courses in the city, let alone one of the top courses in the country. So I was fortunate to be able to ride my bike up there and get on the golf course and practice, and had a field day.
Yeah. So when you got into high school, that's when you can finally play for the school team. So let's start with the first question. When you played for the school team, where were those matches at?
We played at mostly municipal courses around the city. So, gosh, I'm going back to memory here.
Is it not like Lunkin and all that, or no?
We didn't play Lunkin.
Royal Oak.
Royal Oak we played. Makatiwa we played. Coldstream we would play, but only on special occasions, not very often. But mostly municipal courses, if I can recall. So Indian Valley. Remember Indian Valley? Played there a couple times.
Yeah.
I don't think it's there anymore.
Yeah. No, it's not.
No.
So what
So
was
when
the
you
home?
got into,
What was the home course? I guess. I mean, was there? Did each school have their own home like course? I guess.
It depended on the school and their affiliation with the region that they were in. We didn't per se. We didn't have a home course. It was,
Okay.
we planned far enough in advance and schedule it with the course itself, and then we would schedule the school wherever course
Okay.
it was. So
Okay.
Yeah.
nothing in particular per se.
yeah. So when you got into high school and you're playing for the high school team, I'm sure you're playing with some older guys. I mean, can you remember what that was like? And I mean, I'm sure you were excited as heck to play with the older guys and show them what you could do, because obviously playing since 5 years old and knowing the stats that you had, that you were probably one of the top golfers already as a freshman, weren't you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I was, it was. I remember my first. Gosh, Doug McGrew was his name. He was a senior, and I was a freshman.
I remember him.
It just came. My name just came to me. He was a senior at the time. He was the captain. He was a damn good golfer. But I remember as a freshman riding with him in his convertible, green Mustang convertible,
Wow.
out to, I can't remember where we went to play, but I thought I was pretty hot shit back then.
Yeah, that's right.
Heading out. But as a freshman riding with juniors and seniors, it was pretty intimidating.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty intimidating for sure.
Do you remember any of the other guys that were on that team or those first couple of
Not
years?
as freshman year, but I remember my sophomore and junior and senior year guys. I don't
Okay.
remember who was on there as a freshman. Jamie Hugenberg was with me. I remember. You remember Jamie Hugenberg?
Sure.
Yeah.
So Jamie was. You remember Jamie was a big guy. He was probably 6'3", 280.
Right.
And as an incoming freshman, he was highly recruited by, was it Stowe, Coach Stowe back then?
Yes. Yes.
Football.
I mean, he was perfect for football, and Jamie wanted nothing to do with football. He was just kind of a gentle giant and just a golfer by nature. So it was, and him and Tommy Shingleton, and Tommy was a good tennis player. If you
Tommy
remember.
Shingleton, sure.
Yeah.
I believe Tony Bueller played.
Yep.
Tony, and then Dave Warner. Remember Dave Warner? I remember Dave Warner.
Oh yeah, Dave Warner, absolutely.
Yeah.
Dave was good. Dave was strong on the putt circuit. If you remember that, he was like on ESPN and did some damn good things on.
That's right. I remember watching him. Yeah. Good call.
Me too. Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
His dad was a teacher, was he not?
What's that?
His dad was one of the teachers at Anderson too.
Mr. Young.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Good memory. Good Lord.
So who was the coach? Was it Bill Hannikin?
Bill Hannikin.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Bill was awesome. He was my science teacher, coach. He was great to have. He was a great leader. He was awesome. I loved Bill. One of my
He was our baseball coach in the spring.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
It's pretty good. So all right. So talk about a couple more, like your junior and senior year. I mean, as you were moving on, because obviously you're one of the better golfers on the team. If not, we can have discussions of better golfers in Anderson history. So what was that like, junior and senior year playing, and who did you play against around? Do you remember any big names that you played against in high school?
I don't remember their names specifically. There was a guy in Oak Hills who was Charlie somebody. I cannot remember his last name.
Okay.
But I don't remember any of those guys. But when I got to my junior and senior year, it got to be pretty serious pretty fast in terms of going to the next level. I started getting letters from colleges, small colleges that got bigger and bigger. And at that point, my junior year, I think I realized, okay, I can play golf at the next level for sure. Get a scholarship somewhere, help my parents out. It was kind of a cool, cool adjustment, cool feeling at that point when you're good enough to kind of go to the next level. It was pretty exciting.
Well, let's talk about that since you brought it up. So at what point was that process starting for you, the recruiting part, and then when did you make that decision?
Probably my sophomore summer, heading into my sophomore year, I started to get some letters and some interest, and Coach Hannikin said he received some phone calls from some universities who were interested in, my history and what my plans were and that kind of thing. So that's when, for me, it was always as much as I loved it, it was kind of a fun hobby that I was good at. And then it got to be a little different at that point where I was, okay, I got to take it serious. I got to do some things. I got to practice a little bit. I got to practice more. Because really I was, a free education was a big deal.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, I mean, not only for me, but for my parents. I mean, that's huge.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
So how did you narrow it down, and where did you decide on going to?
I went to probably 6 or 7 different schools for visits. I got letters from a bunch of schools, but I ruled out geographically where I wanted to go. And my final visit was to Marshall University.
Okay.
And I fell in love with the coach right immediately. Coach Joe Fagans. He's still with us, but coached for Marshall for 20 some years, and just an all around kind of good guy, kind of the guy I wanted to be around. And I met 2 of the guys that were incoming freshmen, and we clicked pretty quickly. So being 2.5 hours down the road, it got me away from Cincinnati. It got me far enough from Cincinnati where I couldn't just hop in the car and drive back. Right. I got the whole college experience while being able to play golf through college, which is pretty awesome.
Wow. So where all did you get to play there? Like where would Marshall go and travel to?
So the golf is a little bit more interesting. We played in, and that's the thing that was kind of interesting to me. At the time, I didn't realize how collegiate golf worked. But when you go to play college golf, you go to a tournament, there's 20 teams there, 25 teams there.
Oh, wow.
It's not just two schools that are playing. So we went to the Kepler Invitational, which was at Ohio State. We played at University of Tennessee's tournament every year, South Carolina. So geographically, we stayed in the Southeast most of the time, but played some unbelievably awesome courses. I mean, not a bad gig as a kid going through, leave university on a Wednesday, come back on a Saturday, a lot of time away from school, especially just because of the nature of golf, but it was pretty awesome.
Well, how do you, so for guys like Steve and I that we only golf one time a year and we're really, really bad. We think we're good and, but
sure.
I don't understand, like, how did that like explain like the match play, like how they did that, like in high school when you went against each other was, you add up all this. I mean, I just don't know how did that play when you were in high school and then in college.
So, and I'm going from memory here. In high school, the ones played the ones, the twos played the twos, the threes played the threes, fours and fives.
Yep.
And that's how you tally up your victory. In college, it was pure mental play. You'd play 36 holes on a Friday, 18 holes on a Saturday, and then your travel day. So Wednesday was a travel day, Thursday was a practice round, Friday was 36 holes, Saturday was 18 holes, and then you'd either leave on a Saturday or Sunday and you're back. And don't get me wrong, as much as I loved it, it was a grind. It was a grind. And we had spring and fall golf in college.
Jeez.
But then you throw in your academics along the way. Golf team would have to schedule their classes from, you'd be the first class at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and by noon you were on the course for the rest of the day. Yeah. And that's how the days went for my life at university.
Wow. So were you walking all those holes?
Oh, absolutely. Yep. No caddies, no carts.
So right there, I'm out. Can't do it. Steve
Dan,
and I,
you find a way.
Really, we're exhausted after 18, just playing in a little golf outing. We can't even handle 18,
Yeah, but we were younger back then, and we were fit, and we didn't drink as much beer and all that.
I was say, Danny, they didn't have the.
That's a good point. Yeah, they weren't starting to drink at 9 o'clock in the morning for a 1 o'clock.
No.
Not so much.
No.
Oh, that's funny.
So talk about real quick too, also like how teams in high school and then individually how you would qualify for state, let's say, or districts or regional. How did that go? Do you remember how that went?
If I recall, you went to a sectional tournament, then you went to a regional tournament, and then after regionals, you'd go to state. So it was 3 qualifying aspects to get to state. As I mentioned earlier, I never made it to state. Every time that rolled around, I'd either have a bad round or whatever the case. I just never made it. I missed out on.
Was that? Do they do team, like the whole team, and then also individuals, or how did that?
You'd have the team aspect, and then you'd have an individual aspect as well. Okay. So it may have been top 3, top 5, low medalists would qualify to the next level. So I'd go from regional, I made it to, I'd go from sectionals, I made it to regionals, but I never, for whatever reason, never got to state.
Wow.
Just missed it. It's one of those that I missed along the way.
Really?
Never got to check that box.
Wow.
Yeah.
But then you went on and had a great career at Marshall.
Absolutely. Loved it. Yep. Absolutely.
You texted me earlier and told me that Billy Dayton and what'd you say, Johnny Whitford? I can't even imagine those guys in college or even being around those guys when you're at
Marshall. They were animals. Billy and I, he was a Pike at Marshall University, and he recruited me to come to be a Pike with him at Marshall. Just wild guys. And I think Johnny played soccer, didn't he? If I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Fun guys. Super fun.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They were in your class, were they not?
No, they were a year older.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're older. Yes.
Yeah. So they were juniors when I was fresh, and I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So from playing high school and then playing at Marshall, I mean, was there a big difference, or was it just like everybody was so darn good at the college level?
Huge difference. There at the college level, it's just a whole different experience. I mean, everybody's good. The work ethic is different. The way they practice is different. The mentality is different. And it was all kind of business. And it started to take away after, when I became a senior. I was like, okay, this has been an awesome ride, but I'm done. It was just enough was enough.
Right.
When you've been playing since 5 years old, I got to do a lot of cool things with golf. I got to travel a lot of places. I got to play some of the best courses in the country.
Yeah.
That people would die to play, and that was my life. And you look back on it now and you realize, my God, how cool was that? Yeah. Just a fun experience.
Yeah.
Well, I was just getting ready to ask you about that, about if you thought about, you just answered a question about continuing to play, professionally or do whatever after, but you pretty much answered the question. Did you have any guys that you were with at Marshall that went on to try to, do professionally or not?
Oh yeah. I had a couple of guys that went on they played some of the mini tours. Nobody that ever made it big. But when you get to the college level, you could tell the people that had the focus. You could be on the driving range and say, that guy's got a shot to make it, just by the way they, I'm over there cutting up with my buddies, and this guy's grinding, and they got their tools out and their coaches out. It's just a different story.
Yeah.
I played a lot of golf with you'll know the name, Mike Weir.
Wow.
My college roommate, it was one of his best friends, was from Sarnia, Ontario. I remember going up to play in the Sarnia Invitational up in Ontario, and I remember Weir was there, and my buddy Hutch, who I went to college with at Marshall, we were on the range kind of talking to him. And I after we were talking with Mike, I walked up to my buddy and I said, he's in a different league. And he said, he absolutely is. You could watch the way he practiced. I mean, his drive was, I'm going to the next level. Our drive was at that point, hey, let's play a good round of golf and let's get to the bar and have some beers. It's just a different mentality.
Yeah. Right.
But, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after college, where did that take you from not just playing but professionally as a career?
So once I graduated college, I went back to Cincinnati, and after about a year there, I was working for a steel company, and I just needed a change. I just needed to get out of Cincinnati. I found myself falling into the rut of doing the exact same thing I was doing before, and I didn't want to fall into that rut. So I picked up and moved kind of sight unseen down here to Jacksonville.
Wow.
And I came down here. My goal was, I want to play more golf. I want to get out of the cold, and I just kind of want to enjoy life a little bit. Well, I got down here, didn't know a soul, didn't have any friends down here, but the friends I met ended up being non-golfers, all fishermen. So, it's just, life changes along the way. So their idea of golf is drinking as much beer as you can and drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning. When I'd go play with them, they didn't understand why I didn't want to drink on the course. I wanted to focus. I wanted to play a good round of golf. I'd get mad, and, they taught me some pretty good lessons. That's for sure.
Just different mentality. Yeah,
it was.
So let's talk about your family. Are they still around? Your mom and dad? Where are they living?
Mom and dad are still around. They're in Cincinnati. They live off of Salem.
Okay.
My sister Molly is in Hebron, Kentucky. So
Okay.
still Cincinnati. And my brother Dave is up in Chagrin Falls near Cleveland.
Wow. Okay. All
Most
right.
are in Cincinnati. I try to get back as much as I can. Diehard Bengal fan,
Yeah.
diehard Reds fan my whole
Still
life. I
good.
mean, I'm a Jaguar season ticket holder, but I'm orange and black all the way.
Yeah. Danny, didn't you say you saw Molly recently?
Oh, Steve, I knew you were going to do this.
Oh no, oh yeah.
I was
No?
in love. I was in love with your sister when I was a
Oh,
senior. When
is
when
that
my bro when Moose used to hang around with Molly and Mike, Juan, and all, and
oh sure.
and I would see Molly all the time, and I'd be like, I just had that, just like, ooh,
Deer in the headlight kind of look.
oh my god, yeah. And Moose always gives me a hard time about that. He's like,
That's hilarious.
I just remember, yeah. So I was like, and I knew Steve was going to bring that up. I knew that
That's
he
not
was going to
true.
bring. Yeah,
I
knew
just
so.
thought of that.
Yeah.
How about Mike Wan's career? He's done pretty well in the golf world.
Well,
Yeah.
Danny interviewed him.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the
How long ago
podcasts.
was that?
What about a year and a half ago, maybe?
About a
Oh,
year.
that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to go through his secretary. I had to go.
Oh,
we had a
good
good
Lord,
time.
I'm sure.
He was absolutely incredible. He's always been that way. I reached out to him a couple times. We did a Anderson football like Where Are They Now segment, and he did an interview with me for that too. So he's been great. I mean, it's
He's always been approachable. I've
oh,
texted him a few times when he was commissioned LPGA, and
yeah.
he comes here for the Players Championship every year. So I mean that's coming up in 2 weeks. I'll probably run into him somewhere along the way.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's a
Very
great guy.
cool.
I know those guys, Mike and Tony Diana and Randy Corbett and all those guys. They I think they try to do it every year or every other year. They get together and have a golf outing.
No, sweet.
Yeah, and
How do we get invited to that?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just all those groups of guys that they had. I
It
don't know.
probably is.
I think you need to graduate in 1983. That's what.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Steve, this is what I'm thinking. Jeff's sitting there talking about how he takes it so serious. So I don't know if he'd want to do this or not, but we got a homer here if we want to bring him in for the golf outing.
Oh, we can win the trophy finally. We wouldn't get the horse's ass for being in last place.
Last place every year.
Every year. Every year. It's pretty.
You guys
around here somewhere.
We do
around here.
We do California. So we do I'm in charge of the Anderson Football Alumni Association. So every year let's see, how many years now is it, Steve? It's probably been 12 years now. 12 years we do a golf outing, and it's so much fun. I mean, it's a lot of people are just, they
record numbers. Yeah.
It is. It's big numbers. People just have a good time drinking. There's some serious golfers, but then there's a lot of hackers like us that just don't really care and just have a good time. It's a lot of fun. You should try to come down and get a group.
That'd be a blast to reconnect with a lot of those people that I haven't seen in years. That would be so much fun.
Oh, it's a ton of people that graduated from Anderson.
Yeah.
You would definitely recognize. So do you still keep in touch with a lot of guys from high school or no? Or
I do. I probably got 6 or 7 guys I still keep in touch with.
Really?
I don't know if you remember Ted Caudell. Remember Ted?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Big Ted.
We have Big Ted Tolkey. Remember Tolkey? John Tolkey?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mike Guy, those guys. Rusty Williams, who's a mortician right there in Anderson.
Yes.
So yeah, all those guys still keep in contact with all.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Those are some names right there. That's it.
So let's talk about some of your memories. Let's go with maybe your favorite high school memory. You got we'll do high school, college, and then maybe your favorite teacher or coach. So let's start with your high school memory.
Oh God, my best high school memory was probably my first tournament, which was at may have been Weatherwax Golf Course.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was my first tournament or not? I don't remember. I think it was the Johnny Bench Invitational actually.
Oh wow.
And it was my first round. Nervous wreck. My parents were there. My first college tournament happened to be in Cincinnati. I qualified to travel. First round, off the tee, I worm burned it about 50 yards.
Oh,
I was scared to death. But ended up shooting 76. Ended up having a good round as a freshman and was 3 on the team at that time. So that was probably my fondest memory. Just going back and realizing that I'm playing a college tournament. It's in Cincinnati. My parents are here. Right. I'm on scholarship. Pretty cool feeling at that time.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool feeling at that time.
Yep.
In college, my best memory was probably we had a qualifying round, and I remember I shot 63 as a qualifier.
Dang.
Wow.
I was even through 7 at the time. So even through 7, ended up shooting 63. I birdied.
Yeah. Holy cow.
I birdied 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 15.
Jeez,
It was guys on my team are going nuts. They're like, what is going on with you? I'm like,
Yeah.
I was making every putt, 10 feet to go in, 30 feet to go in. It was just one of those days.
wow.
So that was a pretty good memory too.
What about like
and
you
some
got
of
a
the best
favorite
memories.
coach or favorite coach or anything, or either high school, college, or I mean, even not with golf? I mean,
I loved my college coach.
Yeah.
I still keep in contact with him today. He was just an awesome guy. He was pretty strict. And I remember sitting in his office one afternoon. We had a team meeting, and he was pissed off about us for some reason. And he's like, "Just remember something, boys. I call the shots around here, and if you don't like it, there's the damn door." And he just pointed, and I was like, "Okay, this is pretty serious." But he kind of ruled with an iron fist. But if you needed any help with anything, he was there for you, good or bad. He was just a good dude. Just a good dude. I went back to Huntington for his retirement. We were on the football field for his retirement. It was 2000, maybe 4. Marshall was playing Virginia Tech, and there was probably 50 guys who came in from all over the country that were on former golf teams who came in just to say their goodbyes. And
respect. Yeah.
It was just awesome. It was just awesome.
How about high school teachers? You remember any that stuck out to you that you liked, or you didn't like?
No, he was funniest guy. He was my science teacher, and I cannot remember his name.
There's Hebling, there was Lutterby,
Lutterby was awesome. Lutterby was my freshman basketball coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. That was my one other sport that I played in. I played tennis, freshman basketball, and then golf.
Okay.
Interesting. I don't know if you guys remember, my dad was a baseball coach.
I was just going to ask you about that, because I remember he was coaching Moose when Moose was a senior. That was his first year, I believe, in '83. So it was awesome. I wish I would have played baseball. I was good enough to play, but I was really uncomfortable playing for my dad at high school. Right.
For whatever reason, I just wasn't comfortable with it, and I think he was fine with it.
Yeah.
So a bunch of my buddies played. I'm like, I just don't want to deal with, my dad being the coach and all that goes along with it. So I just opted out.
I know my brother loved him. I mean, everybody that I know that played for your dad just absolutely loved him. And he was. I loved going to those games. And I tell you what, he had some pretty good. It's funny, we had Jerry Wolf, who was one of the stud pitchers. We had him on, and he was pretty darn good pitcher.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a name for the past. Holy cow.
Yeah. So, well, that's Jeff. We really appreciate you joining us. I know. Sorry for all the confusion there before we got on, but we really appreciate. It's awesome. Always catching up. It's been, God, I can't remember last time I've seen you, man. It's been too long.
Oh my God, it's been crazy long. It's just weird. I can't believe I've been down here 30 years, and I appreciate you guys having me on, and enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's going to love seeing it. I know my sister was excited. And I know she'll blast it out to all the girls, Kelly Burnside.
Yeah.
Barb,
all them.
Yeah.
The whole crew.
Robin, she'll get it out to the whole crew, so they'll see it all. So we really do appreciate it.
Next time I'm in town, we'll have to meet up at Salem Gardens, the friendly corner for a cold one.
I would absolutely love it. We have to get the cheesy cubes. We have to get those.
Good deal.
So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So for Dan Albers, Jeff Moore, and Steve Ellis, you've been watching This Week in Anderson. We'll catch you next week.